Hi, my name is Kate McMahon, and thank you for joining us today for Profile. I'm very excited to introduce our guest today. We have Maggie Downey, and Maggie is the administrator of Cape Light Compact. Nice to see you.
Thanks, Kate. We're really happy to be here this morning.
And we have Paul Schrader. Paul is a Cape Cod resident and an advocate for Cape Light Compact and the programs that they run.
Yes, pleased to be here today. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, absolutely. So Maggie, if we can talk a little bit about Cape Light Compact and the mission, make sure our audience understands the depth and breadth of programs that you offer.
Great. So the Cape Light Compact was formed by the 21 towns on Cape Cod and Martha's Vineyard. So we are actually a public entity, and we administer the energy efficiency programs here on Cape Cod and on the Vineyard instead of the electric utility. So the Compact has been offering energy efficiency services and running these programs since 2001. That's our primary and core function. The Compact, as I said, was created by a vote of town meeting or in Barnstable Town Council vote to do exactly that, to run the energy efficiency programs. We want it in lieu of the utility because the elected officials at the time wanted to make sure that the funds that ratepayers paid into were reinvested and stayed on Cape Cod and the Vineyard as opposed to going into a larger pot and being distributed over a larger area. They wanted those funds to be used for energy efficiency, conservation, and ultimately that creates jobs and economic development.
That's great. A lot of foresight too on their
very,
part.
Very creative, and this goes back to like the late 1990s. The selectmen and the county commissioners at the time had exactly that foresight and a vision to keep things local.
That's great. Love it. Now, how big of a staff do you have to support the mission?
So there are a total of 15 staff. We're here based on the Cape in South Yarmouth. Also, in addition to energy efficiency, we also administer an opt-out power supply program. That's also part of the Compact's missions. And all of this stems from the 1997 Restructuring Act. So the Compact was created by the Massachusetts legislature as a municipal aggregator. For many, many years, we were the only set of 21 towns that offered a power supply program. But lately, there are now more than 50% of our 351 cities and towns that are aggregators offering power supply. Boston is the latest to dip its toe in the water, but still we're the only set of towns that administer energy efficiency programs locally. A lot are looking at it, but so far we're the only ones that do that.
That's great. And for decades.
Yes.
That's awesome. Now you have talked about the home energy program, and can you tell us a little bit how that program gets started with an assessment?
Yes. So again, the energy efficiency programs are our programs. Every one of us, whether you're a resident or a business, pays in every month on your electric bill to these programs. The Compact puts together a 3-year energy efficiency plan. Right now we're in the first of 3 years, 2019 to 2021. And so everybody pays in on their electric bill. The majority of our customers on the Cape are, no surprise, residential. Of our 205,000 customers, the majority of them are electric accounts. So we administer home energy assessments for residential and multifamily customers. And basically, what does that mean? You can call the Compact right here, and we answer the phones in Yarmouth, so it's very local, or you can stop by and ask questions, and we give you advice. We look at help diagnose your electric bill to find out what's happening. We get a lot of people calling, and that's actually how I met Paul many years ago, was over customers with high bill concerns or complaints. They couldn't afford to pay. Their electric prices were, going up. And what the Compact does is try to help residential homeowners or renters, it doesn't matter if you own or rent your home, to give them the tools that they need to lower their overall energy usage through a home energy assessment. Or if you've had a home energy assessment and say you've insulated, air sealed, and replaced windows and furnaces, technology, as we all know, is changing constantly. So even just checking in with us, whether it's on our website or a phone call to say, hey, I have heard about smart appliances. How can that help me? Do you offer any rebates? Or, I've got an old refrigerator in my garage. what can I do with it? We have a refrigerator recycling program right now. So for anyone who has an old fridge or a freezer that's working that wants to get rid of it, we'll come free of charge, take it out of your house, and give you $75 for it. And then we recycle all of the parts of the refrigerator. So there's lots of stuff happening in this space all the time.
Yeah, we took advantage of the refrigerator recycling
awesome.
program recently last summer. So you had mentioned when you first met Paul, and Paul's been a real advocate and a participant in the program, but I believe you all met when you were the executive director of the Consumer
Assistance Council.
Assistance Council.
Working with the Attorney General's office.
That's great.
To help consumers with problems.
Okay. And so how did you make the connection to Cape Light Compact?
Well, I've always been an efficiency person, somebody interested in the environment and so forth, and thought that, yes, I had done a good job with our house, but, was there more? And so when we came and had the assessment done, we got 7 out of 10, which is pretty good. But, it could be better. And when the assessment was done, it was quite interesting because when they came to do the assessment, it was, in the late spring, early summer, and they brought a big exhaust fan. They opened one of the doors and they put this huge fan in the door to exhaust the air from the house. And then they ran hoses into the different rooms in the house so that they could then measure where leakage was coming into the house. And, they did that and determined that we needed some additional insulation in one portion of the attic, and that we'd done a pretty good job with double pane windows and so forth, all this kind of, good thing. But there was still more that could be done. And so we agreed that that would be fine. And when they came to do the insulation in the attic, we have a typical Cape type house. And in order to get into this section of the attic, they had to break through the walls. And they did that, and it seems to me it was in July or August when they did this. And then they pumped insulation, and these guys crawled into this very narrow space on this hot day. And they pumped the insulation in, and then they replastered the walls on both sides, because this is where the stairwell goes up, and you got to go in both sides. And they did that, and then they cleaned up, and there was not a scrap left. Where they had repaired the wall was perfect. And one of the things that Claire and I, a couple of things that we remember. One is that we went out that afternoon, and it was hot and humid. And when we came home and opened the door, we both went, "Wow, that's incredible!" And we didn't have an air conditioner on at the time. It's just, wow, it was like night and day. And there might have been 20 degrees difference.
Wow, isn't that
so that was quite dramatic. And the other thing is that one thing that I had never thought about is that on the door going into our basement, when I opened the door, on the back of the door, there's an insulation that they'd placed there. And it wasn't just stuck on there. They had gone around the outside of the insulation with aluminum foil tape and secured it. And, when you close the door, there's no gap there, or very little, and just perfect. And as a result of all of that, we've been able to save a lot of money. And I don't have the specifics here because I don't do that part of it. My wife is the kind of the treasurer accountant. But we absolutely have saved money on it. And, I would advocate to anybody, if you haven't had it done and you have any questions, do it. Absolutely worth it, because we've got to save. We live on this tiny dot in the big universe, and there's only so much that's going to be out there, and population's growing, and land is shrinking, and even though the question came up of global warming, but I think that naming was a mistake. It's climate change is the big issue, and we see it, and we see it dramatically here in the Cape, all along the shoreline. Excuse me. I was appointed by the governor several years ago to serve on the Massachusetts Erosion Commission, and we did a study. Experts did a study of the coastline of Massachusetts, and here I live in Sandwich, and I see the erosion at Town Neck Beach on a storm-by-storm basis, and I've documented that by taking photographs for 20-odd years. And here we are, we look at every coastal section along the Massachusetts coast, including both of the islands, and Sandwich didn't, even though we had a serious problem, we didn't make the top 20. And so this is a dramatic issue, and not just for the Cape, but for the whole world, basically.
Absolutely. So it's great. You are able to save money, and you feel like you are having a positive impact on climate change.
Yes.
Which is wonderful.
And I think one of the things that the takeaways from the Cape Light Compact is that they teach us again responsibility, something that we don't value these days. You see people that pull up to a red light, stop sign, and they don't stop. They go where they want. They, and we read it in the paper every day. There's accidents and so forth. But I think that I've had a lot of trust and confidence in the Cape Light Compact, and I think it comes back to a part of this is kind of a side issue is responsibility.
Exactly. We actually have taken advantage of the program from Cape Light Compact here at the Media Center. So yeah, and the experience here was great too.
And the program's changed. So right now, if you called for our 800 number for a home energy assessment, the compact will do intake, and we would come out to your house and evaluate and look to see if you have any opportunities to install insulation or air sealing. Air sealing is the little foam around the pipes or on a sill in your foundation. So we want to make sure that your home is tight and has proper airflow exchange, so that it is exactly what has Paul described it. You can notice the difference on a hot day outside to inside. And we offer incentives, if we talked about that. Right now we will pay 75% of the cost of the air sealing and insulation job. We also have rebates for if your heating system has to be upgraded. We will pay the different, we give you an incentive to buy the highest efficiency oil, propane, or if you're an electric resistance heat, we'll be working to switch those to cold climate heat pumps. I had an old electric house myself and moved to cold climate heat pumps 3 years ago, and had a rebate from the compact, and love it. They dehumidify, they heat, they cool. So there's lots of technologies that are constantly evolving, whether it's appliances, air sealing, insulation. But again, these are our funds. So when I say we pay 75% of the funds, it's the monies that we collect every month on the electric bill goes to buy down the cost of these improvements. As you said, it's all of us helping each other through the programs. And one thing that's new, I think, Paul, since when you went through the program, is the heat loan, called a heat loan. So customers, after a home energy assessment, are eligible for a zero interest loan up to $25,000 for over 7 years for replacement of a furnace, to do if your contribution to insulation, if you have a huge home, you can use them for a portion for window replacement. So again, we take the energy efficiency funds and we buy down the interest rates, so we're able to give a residential customer, a zero interest loan. Things on the horizon to be added to that are potential battery storage, to be able to use the heat loan for storage. If you have solar, you could pair it with a battery. And if you're a renter, all of these things are offered at no cost. If you're income eligible, and a lot of our, we are an aging community, a mecca for retirees.
Careful.
Yes, we are.
I'm right behind you, and we're all pulling up the rear. So we think of, even though the Cape, sometimes people think of it as a wealthy community, there are people, it's not based on your assets, they're based on your income. So there are people that be eligible for 100% incentives that might not think that they're eligible for anything because they might live in a very, a well-to-do area of the Cape or have a big house. But it's really, they could be a retired teacher. They could be retired municipal and state employees. Yeah. So there's lots, there's always something new and exciting, I think exciting at the compact.
Yeah. There are a couple of simple things too that the Cape Light Compact helps with. Light bulbs. They have provided over the years compact fluorescent bulbs to replace the bulbs you typically have in your home. And one of the other things that we took advantage of is, at least at the Sandwich Library, we can borrow a device that you can plug in to your outlet, and then you can plug your radio, your lamp, or any of these other devices into it and learn how much energy that device is using. And
They're the home energy, I forgot about those, oh, I'm embarrassed. The home energy detective kits are in every library on the Cape and can be checked out. So sometimes somebody will call. I had recently had a call from somebody. They were a second homeowner. So this was they're only here seasonally, which is a group of customers we're always trying to engage. And this person called and they told me how much kilowatt hours they were using, and I'm like, oh, do you have I figured, oh, it must be an electric house, and they set the heat on 70, and they went Florida. I'm like, no, we heat with natural gas. They use more electricity than I did in the January, February. So something was running. I said, so that call prompted a site assessment, and it was they had dehumidifiers that were old and efficient and were running continuously, that were driving up. It was a large house with multiple dehumidifiers. So again, that type of, and they were able to, they had a family member come down and we scheduled the assessment that was convenient. So even though you might only have a second home, there are things, like you said, little things that can help to mitigate high electric bills. And high electric bills means less energy consumption. As Paul said, less energy consumption leads to a step that we can all take individual. I think sometimes we're a little flummoxed by climate change and what's happening, and what can I do? I'm just a little old me. But there's a lot you can do by taking small steps that actually cumulatively add up to big actions.
Well, it's been
a very simple test with light bulbs is, you got to be careful when you do this, but I think with a fluorescent bulb, you can actually unscrew it like this with your hand after it's been on for a while. If you try that with an incandescent bulb, you're going to be going to the hospital because you're going to have a burn there. And so that's a little simple demonstration of energy loss. All that heat is going out into the atmosphere, and maybe you've got an air conditioner going on too, and so it's a...
So they're fighting each other.
They're fighting each
Exactly.
other.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And so the compact has supported, that change for a long time now, and I've taken advantage of it, and I get extra fluorescents if somebody needs one.
Well, now it's LEDs. The CFLs have moved to, that's a perfect example of the technology evolving.
Sure.
Because CFLs have been replaced by light-emitting diodes, and that continuously is evolving.
Sure.
So it's just, it's amazing how fast things can change.
That's great. Quite the education today. Thanks so much for coming in. And if viewers want to learn more about a home energy assessment, what should they do?
First, you can call us at 1-800-797-6699. That's our local number here in South Yarmouth. So we can call, pick up the phone, and we can answer your questions. We can help schedule an home energy assessment for you. And the second is to go online. We have a great website that lists all the rebates. In fact, somebody just bought a window unit air conditioner, and I was like, I don't think we have rebates anymore. And I went, oh, we offer a $40 rebate. So check our website regularly because things change. Go to the library and check out the Home Energy Detective Kit. Come to our meetings. We meet the second Wednesday of every month. They're open meetings because the Compact board is made up of a representative from every town that sits and helps guide the design of the energy efficiency programs and just has a very good discussion about what's happening in the energy world. So there's lots of ways to help.
That's great. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here, Paul.
Well, thank you for putting this out there so that other people can learn from it and help to make it a better world.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Kate.
Maggie. Thanks for being here.
Anytime.
And until next time, my name is Kate McMahon, and thanks for watching Profile.